Right. Hello, and good evening. Welcome to the Faces of Hope campaign. This is the Nigerian Family Myths edition. My name is Dr. Edna Chukra, Dr. Edna for short. I will be your moderator, and I'm here to welcome our wonderful cast. So, can you guys introduce yourselves, please? Don't be shy.
Okay. I'm Ojineka Obiekwe, but I go by OG as in original gangster because I'm trying to work on my street cred out in these streets.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us. And who wants to start next?
Brother.
Okay. I'm Chinedu Unaka. I'm a comedian, actor, and writer based out of LA.
Perfect.
And I am Abdul Azim Falarin Harris. People know me as Dulo, comedian, writer, actor, producer, creator.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for being here. I'm hoping we're going to have some good times, good laughs. First question, we'll jump right into it. Tell me, where in Nigeria are each of you from so we have some context, so I know who to fight and not to fight?
Well, you can't fight me because I'm from your tribe. I'm Igbo, so I was born in Enugu, Nigeria, but I'm from Anambra State. I'm from Enugu.
You're my sister. Okay.
One.
We will not choose violence with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm Igbo as well. My mom's from Imo State.
Imo State, okay. And Dulo, where are you from?
I'm Nigerian, obviously. I'm Yoruba. I'm from Lagos, but I was born in New Jersey. Raised in Lagos, though. Enemy, we don't have to be enemy. Let's not do this. Not on this platform. Come on, we all love. Supposed to be unified. That's unhealthy. That's mental health. My mental health is already messing up.
For sure. All right. So it's all love over here for sure. I'm just joking with you guys. All right. So just general questions. All right. So did any of your parents want you guys to get into any healthcare related fields? I know everyone's done different things. We talked about you guys are in acting, you guys are in the newscast. So clearly no one went into healthcare but me. But growing up, did anybody's parents want them to be some type of health related profession?
Because you don't want me saving your life. Like if something's wrong with you, if you see me coming to save your life, say no, because it's going to be worse. But no, they didn't. They encouraged us to do whatever we wanted. But I know I have friends who their parents wanted to be like doctors, like for sure. And they weren't even science inclined, but then they went into the science, whatever, and they weren't doing that great. But I wasn't, so I just went with the arts, which wasn't the cool thing to do. The arts people were seen as the not smart people, and the science people were seen as the smart people. So there was pressure to go to science, but I didn't. My parents didn't pressure me to do that. So thank God.
What about you guys? What about the guys? Anybody?
Yeah, Dulo, what about you?
Well, me, my parents never really said, "Oh, go be a doctor" necessarily, but you can tell, and I could tell like how happy they would be if I were to feel that way. I didn't necessarily feel that way, but in conversation, when they would speak of, "Oh, this person's child just graduated from this place," medical school, you know what I'm saying, so on. And when they would say those type of things, almost like insinuating, that path would make me too proud. His parents are so proud, those type of things. I can tell that they would be proud, but no, they never really said it, but they said it in a way.
Typical, I think. And Chinedu, what about you?
Yeah, mine's similar. My dad never really said it, but my mom was very blunt about it. My mom wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. My mom still wants me to be a doctor or a lawyer.
You forgot engineering too.
Engineering is cool too. She tried to. At one point, she tried to convince me the quickest way to get further in like entertainment was to become an entertainment lawyer. Like that's the part. She was like, you become an entertainment lawyer. She was like, Chris, I'll come into your office and you tell him I also do comedy. I'm like, So.
I guess the only one.
It's normal. Yeah.
It is. My parents were like, you can be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. You can combine them. You can do biomedical engineering. I'm like,
you can be a lawyer's doctor, a doctor's lawyer. Private practice.
Exactly. I clearly am the only one that followed the models. I wish I got into the arts. I liked the arts, and my parents were just like, we didn't send you to school to do dance. It's like, all right. I take that. I'm gonna go to bio. Anyway, all right. So I have a general idea of kind of your upbringing, but I want to know a little bit more. So were you guys raised here in the States? Were any of you raised in Nigeria? A little part in between? Kind of give me a little bit of background. Let's give our listeners and our viewers some context.
I was raised in Lake. Well, I was born in New Jersey, but I was raised in Lagos. So I mean, the first schooling that I remember was in Lagos.
Okay.
I think I went to St. Monica Primary School. So anybody who's listening, if you know St. Monica, and we went to school together, you know what I'm saying? I'm still looking for some pictures. Please send me some pictures. But yeah, I went to my first school was there. Then I went to Green Springs, a real uppity. Some people might know that real uppity one. I remember they used to sell those on my line for lunch. It was delicious. So I mean, I was raised in Nigeria, so I remember my first like elementary schooling in Nigeria, but I came back when I was 9. So I mean, that's pretty much why I'm probably even on this comedy platform or this platform here because of the fact that I was raised in Nigeria.
Gotcha. What about you, OG?
I was born and raised there. I went to school. I went to Air Force Primary School. I went to high school, well, secondary school as they call it there. I went to all girls Catholic school, Holy Rosary College in Enugu, and then after high school, I moved here.
Okay. And Chinedu, what about you?
No, I was raised in LA, born and raised Los Angeles, born in South Central, but raised mostly in like Harbor City and Linwood, which is all LA. So no, I never got the Nigerian schooling. Closest thing I got to that was just having like a goosey in my lunchbox and not be able to trade it for nothing.
That's cool.
I don't think anybody would want it. The smell of that.
It's like mashed potatoes. Come on.
Yeah. I would have traded. I love egusi stew.
I love egusi stew.
You're Nigerian. You better love the egusi stew. It's different from you. He's talking about with the other ones. He was trying to take. He had egusi. He wanted some damn apple
Lunchables.
Hey, I wanted a Lunchable. Nobody wanted rice though.
I wanted some Oreos.
Just try it, guys.
Some Babadoodle. He wanted some damn Hershey's.
I promise it tastes better than what it smells like. I swear to God, I'm just like, yo, these I can't. But now I'm like, Anyway, all right, babe. So would you say growing up? So I was born here too, born and raised. Went back to Nigeria a few times, but for the most part, I had the U.S. experience for sure. But that didn't, stop my parents from giving me all these good myths that we're going to get into. Now, would you say your family household growing up? Well, number one, where do you guys fall in the order of siblings? That's important. And then number two, would you say your household growing up was really strict or more relaxed?
I was the youngest of 5. To answer the first question, I was the youngest of 5. I have 2. I mean, in the order was my sister, brother than me. And household was pretty strict, man. My household was it was strict. I mean, I knew when I was going to if I did something, I knew I was getting in trouble for certain times, certain things I did. So I would say absolutely. Dad had an iron fist.
Okay, Dad had an iron fist. What about you, Chinedu?
Yeah, I'm second to last, so I'm number 4 of 5. Yeah, my little brother's 5th. My house was super strict. It was not necessarily my dad that was super strict. It was more my mom that was super strict. And but I was a 4th child, so what I had to deal with was a lot less strict than what my brothers and sisters had to deal with. Because by the time, they went through living in the house, my mom and dad they got watered down a little bit, how strict they were, because they realized, okay, they're not going to die. They'll be fine if they come home at night or if they whatever. So it was still strict compared to my friends' households, but it wasn't as strict as what like my oldest sister had to go through.
Got you.
Yeah.
And OG, what about you?
Interesting because we're also 5 children, so everyone's 5.
Wow.
I know, but I am.
5 is a magic Nigerian number,
right?
It really is, though. I haven't. Yeah.
I'm the second of 5, but sometimes my siblings would tell people I'm the youngest because apparently I embarrass them and act like I'm not. Like, so they're like, yeah, she's the youngest, so there's no explanation. Yeah, I was the second, so it was my sister, me, then a boy, then another sister, then my youngest brother. So yeah.
Got you. So yes, 5 is a magic number. I'm the youngest of 5, and my parents gave up by the time they got to me. They were like, "Well, do with yourself as you please." I'm just like, all right, well, but I feel
OG, was it strict, OG?
It was just, well, my dad was crazy, so I don't know if he's even on the he was just crazy. So it was strict, but the usual Nigerian kind of strict. But then he took things to a whole other level, which is not even. It's just
okay.
a whole other story. But it was a strict household because my mom, we had to do certain things at certain times. We had like library and stuff where we had to like take books out of, and you had to sign and return the books and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
I know, that kind of strict.
You had a library in your house?
Yeah, it wasn't like no. My mom's idea of a library was just like books on the shelf.
Oh, I know it wasn't a real library, but still, that's just
yeah. Then we had to check out like logs. So you check out a book, you'd sign for it, and then so if someone wanted a book and it wasn't there, they knew it was you, and all. Yeah, so that kind of, I think, strict. She's very particular about certain things, but yeah. Huh. But I was good.
That's OCD. That's not
a little bit.
But I didn't really get it because I was the second. I really think get any trouble like the older people would, because I was really quiet and like I kept myself and stuff. So I wasn't the problem child. I was like the.
What happened to the quietness? No, you're not quiet again. What happened to the quietness? You used to be
quiet. I don't know what happened.
Over the time. Over time. What happened over time?
I was a shy kid. I have no idea what happened.
Now you went from quiet to on the news. Come on, this is not right.
I know.
I know you're not from silent to broadcasting. What's going on?
Broadcasting.
It doesn't even make sense. I don't even get it.
Right, that's crazy.
I don't get it. So
my house was different than yours. I remember my sisters, they would tell me when they were younger, they would go to Disneyland and Disney World and stuff like that.
Who?
When they were younger, my sisters, my dad took them to Disney and all of that.
Wow. Oh, see, the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
I have not stepped foot into Disneyland, Disney World, Disney.
I was run you some slots, and you will be Disney. I'd do Disneyland, So
like we didn't go nowhere growing up at all. The first movie we ever saw in a theater was Sister Act 2.
Oh, happy day!
They came out with a religion movie. My mom was like, "Let's go see through that movie."
Absolutely.
So I had a crush on Lauryn Hill and Whoopi, man. That was the first.
And Whoopi.
I like, hey man, when you don't see a lot of actresses, you like, man, Whoopi kind of bad, man. Right?
Hey, what? Bad bitch. Don't get it twisted.
Sorry, Whoopi. If you end up catching, I ain't not saying nothing wrong with you. I just say, and Whoopi, you were none in that thing. You feel me? You
right? You like, and Whoopi?
Yeah.
I used to like Dulo.
I love it. I love the energy. All right. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I think it's great that I got to know you guys a little bit, give it a little bit of context. So, are you guys ready for a little bit of Q&A? Okay, let's start with the most important thing. What is the craziest myth that your parents ever told you? I'm gonna start with you, OG.
Okay, so remember how I said I went to an all-girls high school?
Yes.
Most of my myths were not from my parents. It was mostly from the girls in school, people, and like what you learn. Because I remember one of the health myths that I like. One of the major ones was because you know how like there's a high mortality rate for pregnant women in Africa, and when you have your period and you have your cramps and stuff, it's like the whole process is that they told me that women have their periods and women die at childbirth because it's punishment for Eve eating the apple. So when I first, they said so because Eve ate the apple like in the beginning. And so now God punished all the women. That's what I was told. So every single time I would have cramps, I'd be like, friggin' Eve, you could have just said no to the apple. Why did you eat the apple? So for the longest time, I believed it. And it was when I got like a little older, I was like, oh my God, this does not make any kind of sense.
How old were you when you realized it was nonsense?
Maybe after I moved here. I was done with high school at 16. So like the whole time I believed it. Maybe till I was 19, 20, I realized I was like, there's no way. It doesn't make sense. But I believed it fully, wholeheartedly, that it was God punishing Eve. So all the women got the punishment from Eve. Wow. So that was my first. I know.
That's biblical.
Yeah. Biblical. They're all about church. So a lot of things are church related.
For sure. Dulo, what about you?
Hey, Chinadu, I'm gonna have to skip. Can I skip, man? Because to be honest, y'all, while we're here, I'm trying to think like what myths. So please give me a second.
Are you saying you've never your parents, your aunts, your uncle, sister,
the thing is like I have. These are it's different. I don't even want to use this example. You know what I'm saying? But because it has to do with your health or whatever. But I don't want to use this example. So give me a second. Let me stew on this real quick. You know what I mean? If you let me
get back to you.
Let me simmer a little bit, please.
Okay. What kind of stew are you stewing over there?
This one is egusi. This one is egusi.
Sure. I'm coming over.
This one is egusi, real quick, for sure.
I'm kind of in the same boat Dulo is. There not so many much like myths that my parents used to give us, but I do remember my dad used to like jokingly say things that wasn't true. I remember one time because me and my brothers, my big brother, my little brother, we used to just eat up everything. We wouldn't wait. You buy snacks, it's gone the first day. I remember he told us that we keep eating everything, and we become like really fat. He said, if we die as a fat person, you'll be too big to float to heaven.
Oh,
that's a good one. Hey, that's a good one.
Your ass is staying on the ground.
He started eating carrots, and then he's been working out since then.
Yeah, but the food was too good. It was like, it is what it is, man. So we still ate. But
so then when did you realize that it was nonsense?
Oh, that moment, my dad just be talking.
Huh?
Well,
okay.
I said something about food. I remember my mom said, if we don't eat our beans, we won't grow tall. So if you eat beans, you grow tall. So I believed it. So I would even if it gave me like gas and bloated me and all that stuff and heartburn, I didn't care. I was eating my beans. But then it was later on that I knew that some girl that said she eats a lot of beans, it's like really short. And I was like, what? And then I realized it's your genetics that makes you tall, not like friggin' beans.
How tall are you, OG?
Now?
Yeah.
6'4". I'm 5'11".
Oh, okay. It works.
Eat your beans.
I was 5'11" when I was always the tallest kid in school. Like even I went into boarding school at 10. I was taller than everyone in my class, and they were all 12 and 13. And on my first birthday, they were singing "Happy Birthday to you," and I was like, "I'm 11 years." I'm like, and they kept going. They said I was pretending. They said, "There's no way this woman is 11 years old," because I was like this giant, and so.
OG and the Beanstalk. That should be a thing.
That's it.
So I was walking around the yard,
eating beans all the time. Just beating people up. One that I remember is if you guys remember, if you ever did, like I said, I was the youngest, but in my siblings, they would curl their eye like this and have have that little thing like that.
Oh yeah.
My parents would say, let the fly come and shit on your eye. You'll be blind, or like your eye will remain that way, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I remember that. Shit. I knew it was bullshit because I'm going to close my eyes as soon as I see a fly.
I don't know. I believe that.
Crazy.
It's my language. I probably wasn't supposed to curse.
Okay, so I've heard so many different crazy things. Some of them we know was nonsense from the beginning. Some of them you believe till maybe an inappropriate age. Why do you think? I feel like it's not just Nigerian parents. This is like an African coalition or something like this. Why do African parents do this?
I think because that's what they're told. The lies start from when they're young, and then it starts going, and then they pass it down. I think
I also think even if it's a myth, right?
Yeah.
There's some sort of way that if you do kind of abide by those guidelines and myths, it's going to keep you out of trouble in some sort of way. You know what I mean? If it's like, which one did you say? The one that OG said that. Well, like I said, that's biblical. That one that might be real.
I don't think so.
But like like other myths, like the one that he said, so on and so forth. But it keeps you out of trouble. Oh, if you eat too much, you're not gonna float. If you abided by that, you probably ain't shaped. I was on the phone. I was on the phone with Chinedu earlier. He was coming from the gym. So thanks, Dad, for keeping this man.
Keeping you in tip-top shape.
Exactly.
Trying to get to heaven, man. So
there you go.
Yeah, I think Dulo hit on the head. Sometimes with kids, the truth isn't enough for them, and so you put a little, put a little spice on it, a little ginger,
a little suya pepe.
Yeah, so
we'll make everything
to get the job done. You got to do what you got to do. I think it comes from that. Some it might come from tradition. Some it's just stuff they, everybody's a little bit superstitious. Like anybody who's a past athlete has some superstitions themselves that they kind of lean towards when it came to like playing sports competitively. So I think it kind of go along the lines with that. It's just more of like, shit they heard, or my bad stuff they heard, and they kind of just passed down, from generations.
They changed that competitively. You feel me? That joint was a hurdle.
Hey, Dulo, you know why?
hey, no inside jokes here. No, I just think it's just their nature. I mean, I swear there's like a African WhatsApp coalition that has just been dedicated to confusing children. That's
facts.
And sometimes it sticks with you because I remember my grandmother, when we have the hiccups, she would take a white thread and put on your hair, on your head, to stop the hiccups. And for some reason, I believed it. So whenever I would get a hiccup, I'm not joking. I know. I'm like, And whenever I get a hiccup, I'm looking for white. Like, so if I have a dress that has a red thread, I'm like, no, I don't do it now. I'll just drink water. But
yes, you do
it. Or if you sneeze, I'm the local champion here. If you sneeze, they say someone's talking about you. So so for the longest time, I would sneeze. So even after I had moved here, even when I would be when I started working at Channel 11, I remember one time I was like sneezing, like I was like, God, who's talking about me? And in my head, I was like, you mad woman. No one's talking about you. There's probably dust in the air. No one's talking about you. I have to stop saying it out loud because it's like been instilled in me that it means someone's ingrained. For sure. Send me back to the village.
Look at that tall chick eating beans over there.
Sneezing up a muck.
Sneezing up a muck.
Sneezing up everywhere.
Sneezing in the beans.
For sure. Yeah, local champion. For real.
Sneezing is actually a guilty pleasure. Sneezing feels good to me from time to time. It feels good. Oh, yeah, I hate when I'm about to sneeze and like it runs away. Someone like, damn it, that was about to be good.
Right.
Somebody just,
I sneeze really loud too. Like I sneeze like my mom. Like I shake the room, like Pop Smoke.
Oh yeah. Definitely let it out. Definitely let it out. Don't hold the sneeze in. For sure.
Yeah, I sneeze with my whole body, man. I get every body part into it.
Everybody part.
The sneezes that hurt though. The sneezes that hurt though. The painful sneezes. The joint that hit you on the chest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit of inner lining. Little inner lining. But
speaking of being sick and sneezing, all right. So, what was your parents' go-to remedy for you when you were sick? I'll tell you mine first. I'll give you guys a second to think. My dad. It didn't matter if I broke my leg or I was sick. It was rubbing menthol. My face, my chest, my back. I was like a walking mint Febreze. It was awful all the time. Anytime, just go ahead, let's rub it menthol. Just like going to rub it. I'm like, Jesus.
Vicks
or rub.
Vicks or rub.
Vicks.
Oh yeah, vapor rub. Let me put a little vapor rub on your chest. And let me make. My dad used to make me this pepper soup. Let me make you pepper soup. I'm like, my eye is bleeding. No, don't worry. My soup will take that right out. You'll spit it up.
We'd have you ever done palm oil, honey, and lemon juice? If you have a cough, palm oil, yes, palm oil that you
drink.
No, palm oil, not palm wine. No, palm is tested. Palm oil, the one that you used to fry.
This is what I'm saying to drink.
Yes, you put palm oil, put that with honey and some lemon, like you coughing. Get that it'll soothe you. It's a cough suppressant for sure.
Yeah, it works. Sure it is.
It works. It's a cough suppressant.
Thick as heck.
Yeah. I mean, you'll warm it up a little bit. You don't want not like while it's still in, still, stiff form.
Did it work?
It works. It works to the day. Yeah, it works.
All right, y'all.
Yeah, everything works.
Lemon, honey. I mean, honey already works. We know that. All right, now you got palm oil and then lemon. Come on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can skip on the oil and be fine.
Hey, listen, I guess the oil is from the ancestors. That oil is like that one is from the ancestors. That one is needed. That's the extra.
That's the extra one.
That extra, that they're off behind the thing, and it works. Like I said, I ain't lying.
Yeah. For sure. And OG, what about you? Crate, what was the go-to for you?
They use rub a lot, but my mom would always make. She would say, even till today, she would say, "I'll make something spicy for you." She would say, "Wachagono." Because I like spicy. Wachagono. She'd be like, "I'll make something spicy for you." Wachagono. So she'll make pepper soup or something that's like really spicy, and then that's it.
I mean, I guess it's the same as like whiskey, something hot, something to kick you
hot toddy.
Right? Hot toddy.
Did your parents ever do the rub, right? Yeah. After they do your whole party, right? They'll now boil hot water, put it in a bucket.
And steam.
Put you with it and steam.
Yeah.
Everything is just dripping.
Yeah, the towel,
like you feel like your soul slime.
Yeah. And it will work
out your face. That works.
Definitely did that.
Yeah, that's a good one. You'll be breathing it. Ooh, everything you feel that whole menthol, feel like you're smoking half of a cigarette.
Yeah, you would feel so much better though. That I will give them credit for that. You do feel a lot better, man.
Yeah.
But other people might watch it and be like, they might say that a lot of people do that. That might just not be African, by the way.
Yeah, I have a feeling. They're like,
I have a feeling.
You see this video, guys? They think tea is special, y'all.
Let
me
put tea.
What you know about palm oil though? That's all us.
They got it from CPS, right?
I had to throw that in there. But you can get your palm oil from your local African market if you want.
It's on Amazon too.
You can get that on Amazon for sure.
See, it's the steam plus the Vicks vapor rub.
That right there, that'll clear your soul.
It's the combination.
It make your bone go right back in place. Like
that'll clear your soul.
It's the package. All right, bet. So, okay, we're gonna transition. We all know that we are in a pandemic, or like a lot of people like to say, a panoramic, whatever you want to call it. We've made lots of jokes about this pandemic that's been killing us for the last year and a half, especially me in the hospital. So let's talk COVID. I have heard everything you could possibly imagine about COVID, especially within the Black community, especially within the African community. So I'm going to shoot this question to you guys. As it pertains to COVID specifically, what is the craziest thing you've heard? It doesn't have to be a myth, but craziest thing you've heard about COVID as it pertains to, I'm going to make it a little bit more broad, to the African-American community, to the Black community, to the African community.
Wait, craziest thing you heard in terms of from anybody about
From
COVID?
anybody about, I've heard, so I'll start. I've heard that we can't catch it.
Oh, from black people? Oh, you definitely could catch it.
Yeah.
In fact, we're catching it the most.
I'm like, Tyrone, you're here in the ICU. Catching it. But I've heard we can't catch it. I've heard all types of stuff. What about, I've heard of crazy remedies too, about, how to prevent from getting COVID and things like that. So have you guys heard anything like that?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Dulo.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure? All right, bet. My bad.
Actually, hold on. I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
Oh
no, I thought you were sorry. I thought you were serious, man.
I'm messing around.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
At the same time, y'all.
Come on, brother.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Gina,
it's your turn. It's okay. You see how y'all Igbos are doing me. You y'all not saying one, but it's cool. It's cool.
Go ahead, it's on you.
All right, okay, cool. But now I forgot what the hell I was gonna say. Can y'all believe that? All of y'all, can y'all believe that? But where were we?
So I was asking about the crazy
myth. There we go.
Yeah.
No, I know that's all cool, right? People talking about you can't catch it, so and so. But the craziest thing that comes to my mind is the fact that this COVID thing, so and so forth, might have something to do with population control. Okay, so for me, that's the craziest. Like, okay, we get you can't carry whatever. People are dying on record, on track. It's COVID on their death certificate, so on and so forth. That's what I'm talking about there. The fact that it has something to do with population control and the reality of population control. I've seen Bill Gates speaking of population control, getting it down to 1 point something billion. We're at 9 billion now. So like the fact that I feel like, I mean, whichever way, this has something to do with it. Like this is one of a pandemic. My first time being in it, being quarantined. My first time being in it, and how like the residual impacts of it. Once upon a time, people used to go to happy hour to go meet people. All right, that even that in itself has cut down. Less people meeting each other. Less either people fall in love, one night stands, whatever. Population has been affected in some sort of.
I love the theory. I love it.
So like that's just a little funny theory with how you can look at it, but it's a fact in a way. So that.
No, I've heard that. I've heard that. It's a way to try and get us, like, as you said, to try and control the population, kill a certain group of people off. I heard everything. So, all right, Chinadu.
Yeah, I've heard like things like that where it was a population control thing where they wanted people to die, but then that would make sense because the government was trying to keep people inside. So if you want people to die and it's spreading, then just let them be free and tell them it's not real. So it was then also like this idea of like all the countries in the world getting together on the same accord about one lie. Because like my friend Hallie she was speaking about something that's called the Great Reset. Have you guys heard about that?
Tell us a little bit.
No, don't waste your time. It's a conspiracy theory.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Bruh.
Let's spend some time on it, brother.
Man, it's a conspiracy theory about like how the richest people in the world got together and created COVID to have this great reset of like economic funds. They're only making these vaccines to make money, and it's not even doing anything or some dumb stuff like that. It's been all type of stuff like that, like floating around, and it's really because the other pandemic that we're dealing with is misinformation. You just can't keep up with it no more. You can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
And the reason misinformation it travels so fast because it's so profitable. It's so out there that people are going to click on it, and you can create a fan base by just talking out of your butt and just saying things that are obviously wrong, but you give people something to either disagree with or argue with, and they'll feed the monster because of it, you know. So it's insane.
Yep.
Misinformation is a big thing. I feel like people want to believe misinformation than the actual information at this point these days, because it just fits what their mold is and what how they want to move, for sure.
And it makes them feel smart, you know, because like if you're someone who are uneducated, right? Sometimes not everybody like that, right? But sometimes what happens is you could feel a little bit down on yourself, but then now when you run into all these conspiracy theories and you memorize those, and then when you run into these conversations you have no idea what you're talking about, but you could bring up something that they don't know about, all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I'm a smart guy too, or I'm a smart woman. It's a very weird thing, you know.
I'm sure. I can only imagine. OG, what about you?
Well, I know I read something about them saying it has to do with the 5G network. I was like, I don't have the energy to even read up. Yeah, I don't have the energy to even look up what this is all about or read it up. It's not like I'm not spending like any amount of time that I have in my life to even, you know, acknowledge that this is what's going on. If that's what it is, then whatever. But I know that for the vaccine, they were saying that it's government trying to put chip in people to track them.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're tracking you already. If they want to track you, they can track you now.
With the iPhone. Exactly.
Your iPhone is tracking you.
Yeah, I said so that was the thing with the vaccine. People had all this stuff that they were shooting a different kind of disease in you, or there were all these crazy notes out there. But you know,
are any of you vaccinated by chance?
Vaccinated?
So what?
I got vaccinated.
You got vaccinated? All right. We'll leave that open ended for now. But you're right, OG, for real. The amount of craziness I get on my social media platforms anytime I post anything about vaccinations, right? And this is vetted research. I mean, obviously, COVID is still new, and this is how kind of we progress with things. Things happen. Something in terms of like some of the vaccinations, like Johnson & Johnson, for instance, and the blood clots and all that stuff. I mean, I've heard everything you could possibly think of when it comes to these vaccinations. You can't have kids. It's going to make you infertile. I mean, I have to my block list is heavy these days.
No. But Dr. Adna, the reason I actually got the vaccine wasn't for me, because I was saying that I would tell my coworkers, like if they say, oh, it's flu season, get a flu shot. I was like, listen, I've had malaria like 80 times. I'm good. If the flu should be afraid of me, not me afraid of the flu. I never had the flu shot, right? So when they started talking about COVID and they were saying that it's chloroquine that they cure it with, and I was like, my blood is pretty much chloroquine, like running through my system, because I had malaria. Like I can't remember like a year as a kid growing up that I didn't have malaria. So nothing happened to me. But I mostly got the vaccine because I'm around my mom. She's older. She has because they tell she's like she's one of those, like she's at that risk level. They say the older people, if you have high blood pressure, if you had this. So she had everything that they said gives you like puts you in the high risk factor category. Right. So it was just because I see her a lot and she's around me a lot. So I was like, you know what? And I go to work and stuff and I come back and, so I just said because of her, just for her protection. That's why I was like, she was the number one reason I did it, because I didn't want to feel guilty if something happened or if I brought it in or whatever. Me and my malaria like shield, that's not going to get COVID. What if something happens to her? So I just said, let me get it. And so I can just, be.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
Did your mom get the shot too?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, cool. How was her reaction to it? Was she okay?
Yeah, she was fine.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Question, Dr. Edna, what kind of medicine do you practice?
Internal medicine. I probably should have said that too. I didn't, right? Internal medicine. So my bread and butter, this is all I do for the most part. I'm inside the hospital for the majority of the time. So when COVID hit, we were there.
So while we have you, Dr. Edna, which one of the vaccines would you say are is the best choice, the people's choice?
Well, I'm a Pfizer princess.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, both Pfizer and Moderna, right? So those are the two that have had the most research, right, thus far, and have been equally efficacious across all ages and sexes and demographics, right? So they're both above 90% efficacy rate.
Yeah.
And so, I got it. Obviously, I kind of didn't have a choice, but also just seeing the effects of COVID day in and day out, I chose to get it. But I would say people ask me this all the time: Pfizer or Moderna are equally efficacious. I would probably hold off on the Johnson & Johnson only because, not because of the side effects that have been in the news. There are medications that everyone takes on a daily basis that cause the same amount of like adverse effects, but it just hasn't been researched enough for me to see.
Right. So another question, like, and this is piggybacking on that. For people who are wondering, probably including myself, how long does it usually take to research such vaccines usually?
So this is what I tell people, because a lot of people are like, well, how did they come up with a vaccine in 12 minutes and how to do this? I said, what you're seeing is a well-oiled machine. When you have the finances, right? So they put trillions of dollars into research, right? So when you got money and the time and no bureaucratic red tape, i.e. Congress, all these, political entities putting stop holds on things, this is how things are supposed to run. So what we're seeing is the United States functioning in terms of healthcare at its best, and people are not used to seeing it, right?
Right.
That's really what it is. If you gave a research company $1 trillion and said, come up with a cure for something, they're gonna come up with it in about a month. But typically, so I mean, it's not far-fetched. It's just unusual in this country because we're always fighting each other, pharmaceuticals, this company, this whatever, to do things.
So when you take the politics out of it, that's how quickly things can move. And then people just weren't used to seeing that. And then so it just kind of like threw them off. Like, okay, cool. It doesn't seem like a vaccine should be ready that fast, but
exactly.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I've never really gotten a chance to ask a doctor that. But that does make sense. Good answer. Yeah. You've been asked that too. I don't know if you practiced that.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, Dula.
I fully understand. But yeah, I appreciate you answering that question because that's one of my main things. Like, how can that was quick. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
Okay.
And I tell people all the time, it's fluid too. Things change more so now. We have more research, so things I can say more definitively. But I always give that caveat that look, it's still in its infancy in terms of the research. We're going to be researching COVID until forever. This is just a year out. We're still, the leaps and bounds that we have to make to really have some concrete stuff about COVID is going to take years in the making. So we're seeing something very new.
I know I have a lot of questions. Oh, sorry, no, Chinna, do you?
Yeah. Just a quick follow up. Is there anything? So I know with the research, is there anything they can do to make the vaccine more safe and more effective, or just more effective? Like, as far as safety, it's at the top of like how safe it can be.
For now, you know what it is though? You need more people, right? So the larger the pool of the population in which you test, the more you cover. You find out more adverse effects. You have more people to kind of base your research on. We need more people. So these studies are based on pretty large groups of people in terms of the population size in which have gotten tested. But I mean, when you think about like medications that we take for granted now, insulin or like Tylenol, and how much vetting over the years it has taken to make this something so mundane that you pop it without question, right? But all of these things have side effects. I mean, Tylenol can cause liver damage. You can go to liver failure from Tylenol. You can get ulcers from Aleve. And people don't think about it because it's so common, but it has taken so much research. So really, to answer your question, it was really just more time, right? And more people in these research studies, and really, it's pretty safe. The medical community, I would say, was really surprised as to how efficacious it was from the onset, right? But that's because they've had so much funding to do what they need to do. So I think over time, as the compounds and the things that they use to make it, right, and the research, what works and what doesn't work, and how we understand how COVID adapts and mutates and things like that, because it's a virus and mutates and things like that. I think it become better and better and better, for sure. Do you guys think COVID is here to stay? Where do you see us in December? That was going to be my last question before we transition to the fact or fiction. December, besides being in Nigeria trying to turn up, where do you guys see COVID? Is it here to stay or is it not?
I mean, I know there's like other variants that are still popping up, right, in different places. And I know other countries don't necessarily have access to the vaccine just because, America does, right? In terms of like, it's not rampant. Like other countries are still dealing with very much a serious pandemic. So I guess my question to you too, like, how is that distribution matters? Is it because there's a lot of politics in that? People are trying to see how much money they could get before they really kind of venture out and help others, or what does that entail?
let me understand. I want to make sure I answer your question correctly. So when you say like other countries, I'm thinking like India. India's in a crisis right now in terms of pandemic, in terms of just like getting the aid they need. I think really what has happened is the United States did a piss poor job of educating, number one, and getting in front of this virus, right? And I don't think a lot of people took it for granted. They didn't realize how serious it was. It's killed a good amount of people.
Yeah.
And so we're behind on the 8 ball in terms of production, distribution, right? We're just coming to standard on a lot of things. It's going to take a while for the United States to get kind of what we call herd immunity. So when the majority of your society or people have the vaccination over not, right? So not everyone has to be vaccinated, but the non-vaccinated people are safe because the majority of people are vaccinated. Does that make sense? That's what herd immunity is. So I think we have a long way to get to herd immunity. We're getting there. I don't think the United States is going to turn around and look at another country before they get us right.
Right. What's a long time? Are we talking a year? Are we talking 5 years?
Well, I think right now, don't quote me on the numbers because it's been a while since I did my due diligence on the research, but I think about 70% of elderly, so above 65, are vaccinated in the United States, which is great. And I think we're somewhere around 40% of just, 65 and below. So when I'm talking about 16 to 65, because the vaccination has been cleared for 16 and above for the most part. So that population of people, I think we're somewhere near halfway. So we're getting there, but we have a way to go. We have a lot of people who don't want to be vaccinated, obviously for other reasons, and that's fine. And we have some people we just don't have access to. So I think we'll still probably be vaccinating people well into next year. For sure. And then you have flu season that's coming up. It's going to be a hot mess. So, yeah, for sure.
I'm not.
My answer is I know it's here to stay in some capacity. But what do you guys think?
I mean, in this conversation, even the fact coming from a doctor, what do I think? What I think has changed when the doctor just said, "I know it's here to stay." So what I thought is more in the last 2 seconds. Whatever I thought.
Well, doctor, let me tell you about where COVID is going.
The doctor just said. Well, I think it doesn't matter what I think. What I think.
When you say here to stay, what do you mean?
Like
forever.
I got my shot. So you mean like here to stay, as in it's just like everyone would have to get like the vaccine, so we're safe, or it's here to stay? It's gonna pop up at some point.
No, like how there's flu season, right? There's COVID season.
Yeah.
There is.
What months?
Right, that's the part.
Can we pick? I'll vote for January.
You vote for January?
You know what's funny that you just said that, Chinadu? Can we pick? And I guess that's my that's one of my those are one of my things, my reservations and my reserves when it comes to my clash when it comes to almost the medical field, and how sometimes like through words and through media they almost project certain things, you feel me? And then what society does is almost like eat it up and expect that and normalize that, and when it does come, it's what they said, so it's here. So I mean, for me, right, I wish it was, no, it's not here to stay, we about to come in, we're going to alleviate it, so on and so forth. Or when we coming up with something that, hey, if you got this thing, man, you around people, damn it, you might be able to disinfect them. I don't know, whatever. I don't know how y'all think. I don't know how y'all think, or whatever have you. But can we start thinking like that?
We can. It just depends. Like the numbers are going down.
Yeah.
if that helps ease you, the numbers are going down. I think that again, a lot of people are not with getting the vaccine. Like a lot of my patients, I work in a predominantly Black, African American underserved population, and I have some who are like, I'm with it. Some are like, not with it. So I think that's also going to be a little bit of a give and take. But I think overall, I mean, when I say it's here to stay, I don't mean like we're going to be in this, like where you can't go out, you got a social distance. Like, I mean, social distancing actually probably really great at this point, because I need people to stay 6 feet away from me anyway. I were too close to begin with.
That's always should have been a thing.
It's a great thing. Put a mask on your breast smells, things like that. But
halitosis isn't
there are some things that were great about this pandemic. There's something obviously, but I think when I say here to stay, I really think like there'll be a season, and we'll kind of fluctuate like we do the flu and things like that. And you can get vaccinated or not. I'm hoping that's what it is, because I know that we can't sustain being inside for the rest of our lives. Not gonna happen. People want to be outside.
Oh, they already are outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's outside now. We're open now. We are. And I mean, so like I have a lot of, I'm not skeptical, but I'm surprised that we're fully open. So I'm surprised at that how soon it is. I am.
For sure. Yeah. All right, so I'm being told that we got to transition. So let's transition. So we're gonna play a quick game. Y'all ready for fact or fiction? So the way this is gonna go, everyone has to vote. I'm gonna throw a question out at you, and I want to know if you know if it's fact or fiction, and then I will dispel it or confirm it. Sounds good? Mm-hmm. All right, first one. Since we talked about malaria, OG, having had malaria provides you immunity from COVID. Is that fact or fiction?
That has to be fiction.
Fiction.
That's a lie I told myself.
Fiction. So OG saying fiction. Chinadu, you saying fiction. Dula, what are you saying?
Fiction.
It is fiction. Okay, but I will say this: the disclaimer and the asterisk on that is there have been studies that have shown that there's a lower prevalence rate of COVID within malaria endemic areas. And so, but for whatever reason, I think it's a cross reactivity. I'm not going to get into too sciencey here because it's not a science show, but has lessened the rate. But there's no clear correlation to having malaria will now obviously stop you from having COVID. So
the funny thing in my head also says is because we already had malaria, COVID, get the heck out of here.
Exactly.
Who the hell? I don't got time for that. Anybody got time for it? Got time COVID, move, man. We got other issues.
Ebola, malaria, please.
Got other issues. COVID, leave this place.
For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So good. All y'all got that one. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So second one. Everyone has heard this. There is no such thing as the 5-second rule after food drops. Fact or fiction?
That is, there is no such thing?
There's no such thing. Now listen to the question. No such thing as a 5-second rule after food drops. Is that fact or fiction?
That's a fact.
That's fiction.
That's
the
fiction.
5-second rule is real.
I use it all the time.
Okay.
It's not real.
It's real.
Wait. It's not real in terms of it's a hard deadline at 5.
Fact or fiction, yes or no?
But it's a good rule to follow.
It's fact. Ain't no such thing as that. So like I'm saying that right. Fact. Like I said.
So Dulo saying this. Okay, so this is fact, fiction, and then OG. What's your vote?
It's a fact, but it's a fact that there's no such thing as a 5-second rule, but I still do it. If my stuff falls on the floor like it's a granola bar, I'm picking it up. I don't care if it's like more than 5 seconds. I'm
15,
eating it.
25 seconds.
Yeah, 25 seconds. 30.
It depends where it is. Nothing came unless somebody in them 25 seconds something came and changed the situation.
Let's talk about it. Where does it have to fall that 25 seconds is okay?
I got hardwood floors, so
exactly.
I'm good. A little dust ain't gonna hurt me.
If it's not wet, if it's like dry, it's fine. Oh. If it's not wet and it can pick up something, it's okay. And you know what I used to tell myself? I used to say, dust I am, unto dust I shall return. And I go, and then I eat it.
I think your mom said that.
This is exactly.
That sounds like your mother.
That sounds like some white thread on it.
Exactly. All right. So you guys all know that this is some nonsense, but we choose to believe this. I think everybody's guilty of picking up something and just ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and keeping it moving.
Okay. I look at it as a general rule. Like the recommendation, you should drink 8 cups of water a day, right? Mm-hmm. That's just a recommendation. 5 seconds or less. If you can't do it within 5, too low. Leave it alone, throw it away.
Yeah, it depends on it. If my pizza falls, you know what I'm saying, like mushrooms down. I'm
the
not
cheese on it. Yeah. It does depend on the type of food. Too.
I might eat the
granola bar. Granola bar. You can leave that on the floor for
the crust might work.
4 or 5 minutes.
Like Skittles.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah, Skittles, M&M's, facts. No, not gummy bears though. Gummy bears, that's picking up. It's picking up. So that's absorbing for sure.
Under a microscope, what that thing picks up in 5 seconds, y'all would not eat it. But we have the African immune system, so it's okay. It's okay. All right. You probably heard this, or some of our viewers probably heard this. If you swallow a seed, it has the potential to actually grow inside of you. Is that fact or fiction?
That's probably a fact. The way you deliver that.
That's
the delivery.
Sure.
Doodle saying facts. OG saying fiction. Chinadu?
Because I was told this when I was a kid, because I would swallow orange seeds and they say like a tree would grow in your head. It never happened.
So maybe
it hasn't happened. Trust me.
So fiction for you. And Chinadu, what about you?
I think it's fiction. There's a lot of people out here swallowing seeds.
I think it germinates. It might germinate. I think it might germinate in your stomach. Oh, that's hilarious.
We're keeping it PG, you guys.
No, I'm talking. Whoa, what are y'all talking about? I'm talking about fruit. I'm talking about fruit.
Shut up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, get
Well,
your bite out the gutter, Dulo.
Of the fruit
I
variety.
said my name first. I caught it late.
All right, so we know. Okay, so to answer that question and keeping it PG for sure, that is fiction.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
the stomach, the acidity of the stomach is too harsh for anything to grow. Okay. So swallow whatever seed you want.
Whoa, time out. I'm talking about bell peppers, man.
Yeah, all right, Tina do. Tried and true. All right, so next one. Ginger ale is an effective remedy for hangovers, headaches, stomach aches.
Oh, cancer, everything.
Facts. I don't care. Facts.
Ginger ale is real. The ginger ale is real.
That's the real. It's not ginger ale. It's ginger ale.
Not for the entire list. For headaches too? Well,
okay. So when I say hangover, I mean in this entire entity. You know, like queasy stomach, just the whole feeling like
Ginger's good for that type of stuff.
Yeah,
ginger. Even if it's mental, because a doctor, you could agree with this and tell me if I'm wrong. But sometimes just like placebos actually have a positive effect on people because it puts you in the right mental space too, your body to naturally heal yourself.
Yes, I'm very doctor. Yes, Dr. Chinedu, you're right. Actually.
You're right. Did you see?
Okay.
Dula, I could have been a doctor.
Hey, you got to send it to your mom. You got to send it to your dad. Like that. You know, I'm with the doctor.
You guys are technically doctors because laughter is the best medicine. Then you guys pull it out. That's the comedians that you are. So.
Yes. Amen. But this is true. So ginger in and of itself, right, has anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-everything, actually anti-tumor. So when you say cancer, I'm not going to give my patient ginger ale when they have cancer, but it has a lot of properties to help with a hangover. Plus, it gives you hydration, which, after a day of drinking, you need. So drink that ginger ale for sure.
Or just don't drink.
Boom.
That much.
That's a good one.
I was with you.
Yeah. Just don't get wasted.
Just don't get wasted. Or drink, drink and then drink some water. Drink water.
Boom.
Yeah. Adults.
I know. Yep.
All right. 2 more and then we're gonna wrap it up. So my parents used to tell me this, but I'm not gonna say my piece yet. You can catch pneumonia from being outside too long.
Of course.
Okay, so
I don't know if that's a fact or not, but yeah, my parents.
Of course.
Yeah, my parents said that all the time. Yeah.
So is it true or not? What do you guys think is true or not?
I think pneumonia comes first, right? I
think it's fiction.
Because
you're outside in the heat, you're not gonna catch pneumonia if you're outside.
But you can still catch pneumonia. So
I think you catch other
from the cold, being in the cold too long.
I thought. I don't know. I thought it was true. They said it so many times. I started believing it.
Pneumonia, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a Nigerian thing. My parents told me this. I believe this till I was an adult, sadly enough. But it's actually fiction.
It has to be.
You cannot catch pneumonia from being in the cold.
And which cold in Africa are you catching pneumonia anyway?
Exactly.
How cold is it in Nigeria?
It's not. Yeah. It's really not. But it is an infection. So you can catch it from somebody else if you would any other infection, but you cannot catch it from being wet or being in the cold too long. Not a thing. So
how do you catch it?
It's an infection. So it's either a viral, bacterial, or
Okay, so the weather does not matter.
The weather does not change. It doesn't make a difference.
How about with your common cold? Weather does not matter with your common cold itself. Like when you start sneezing in the cold, like, I want to, because I'll go in the cold, maybe I didn't zip up, whatever. I come back a little.
I thought that's why he called it a cold, right?
Right, from the cold.
This is an infection in the lungs, in the respiratory tract. You have to catch the actual microbe.
But is your chances from catching that infection is a lot higher during like the winter months or no?
Of course, because more people are sick, right? More people are coughing. So they cough, they dispel all they project all their nonsense, the bacteria, the virus, whatever they're carrying into the air, right? And and then also you have your immune system is a little weaker in the cold, right? So things of that sort. But in and of itself, the cold, you will not get pneumonia from being cold. You will not get pneumonia from being wet.
Right. It's just about all that stuff is in the air. So you don't necessarily need to wear a jacket. You just need a jacket over your face.
Don't be stupid now.
Hypothermia is real, right? Is it called hypothermia?
Yes, it's called hypothermia.
Yeah, that's a whole different one. You don't want that.
Go ahead.
I'm trying not to catch it. I'm cool with hypothermia.
Frostbite is real.
I just don't want to catch a cold. Hypothermia, I ain't worried about that.
Your new name be Chinedu Unaba. You feel me? With no fingers.
I'll lose a foot.
Oh, you lose a foot?
I just want to catch a cold.
You don't want to catch a cold. I hear that.
All right, sneezing person.
Last one, and we'll wrap it up. So I also got told this. You can develop, you can develop diabetes from eating too much sugar.
Yeah,
We're told that a lot.
of course.
I don't think that's true. That's fiction.
Fact or fiction? I need fact.
I think it's fact. I mean,
Fact?
it better be a fact.
Look, I think look, I'm with Dula. Better be a fact because I sacrificed
I know
a lot of moments with cake and pies.
They call it the sugars.
That I passed on.
The sugar. Okay.
That's what it's called, right? Like that's she got the sugar.
Yeah, it is
AKA diabetes.
Diabetes. The sugar. She got the sugar.
Life was all the time. So
yeah.
Funny enough, it is actually both. There is factual components of this and there's fictional components, and I'll try and explain really quickly. So, you in and of itself, you cannot get diabetes from sugar, right? It's a problem with insulin and glucose. Glucose being sugar. The colloquial term is sugar, but the actual mechanism in which you get diabetes, there's type 1 and type 2, right? One is genetic, just your insulin, your pancreas does not create insulin, which is needed to break down sugar, glucose. Mm-hmm. And the other one is basically your pancreas is burning out of some sort. Now, there are risk factors, sugar being one. More so when they say sugar, they mean the added sugar, the packets, the non-real sugar, like not something that comes from true fruits, true stuff like that. So yes, this is both fact and fiction, but to err on the side of caution, yes, a lot of sugar can exacerbate diabetes if you already have it, or it can increase your risk factor. So your parents on this one were correct. Cool. For the most part. Correct.
Does salt play a part in that at all?
No, salt will give you hypertension.
Okay, not necessarily diabetes.
High blood pressure, right? That's high blood pressure.
High blood pressure, exactly.
Yeah, high
blood pressure, and make everything swell on you for the most part. But yeah.
HBP.
All right, you guys. So thank you so much for giving your insight, having a great conversation. Dulo, Chinadu, OG. Thank you guys so much. I know our viewers had a good time. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed, learned something, had a laugh or two. And yeah, continue on with the Faces of Hope campaign. More things to come. Check them out. And we'll see you guys on the flip.
Send me a little certificate. Something I know. I'm smarter now.
Everybody's honorary doctors.
I'm more qualified now for something to talk. I'm a male. I'll text. I'll send.
All right, you guys.
All right. I want my plaque. Man. Honorary something. Bye.
All right.
Bye, guys.
See y'all, man. All right. See you, ladies. Have a good night.
Bye.